of Muskegon Heights, where you get to know what you need to know so you'll be in the know. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again this Wednesday, every Wednesday, 2 p.m. And either you're clicking on live or you're listening on the radio. We appreciate you joining us at this 2 o'clock hour. So I'm excited to get our show off today, but a special thanks to again the mayor and the city council for allowing me to serve in this role as the city manager for the city of Muskegon Heights. And I thank everybody for the comments and questions that have come in between this last show and this show, and the opportunity to be able to share with you some of those answers to some of those great questions that come up. I think it's important for us to have means of communication like this, opportunities for us to have questions asked and questions answered, because there is a lot of things that are going on in the city, no matter how big or how small the community is, that there's a lot that goes into the operation of a community and city government. And so I'm not going to say that I am necessarily an expert in all things city management. It's 25 years I've been in public service, and I'm still learning every day. So, but I do know that there are a lot of things out there that are unknown to the community. And if I can do anything to help shed some light on that, answer questions, dispel some myths and misunderstandings, I think we all grow as a community together. So I'm excited that 1037 has given us this channel to be able to communicate with the community and to be able to share what's exciting things that are going on in Muskegon Heights. So today I'm excited to welcome to the show our Chief Building Officer, Mr. Karey Morrow.
Thank you, Mr. Bell, for having me.
Well, I'm glad to have you back. And so I've asked Mr. Morrow to join us today because we have been talking on this show for the last 2 months about the April kickoff for the cleanup of our community. And so the person that has really been driving the pulling together of the whole campaign around cleaning up the community has been Mr. Morrow. He's done an outstanding job. Something that's not specifically in his job title per se. So we do stretch that under that one clause that says "and all other things assigned," I guess is the. But he's done a magnificent job in keeping us on task and moving us forward with the effort to pull this campaign together. And so I wanted to give Mr. Morrow an opportunity on the first show of the month to give the name of the campaign. I've alluded to it on the show a couple of times, but staff came together and did some brainstorming, and again, led by Mr. Morrow. And we came up with what, Mr. Morrow?
Beautify the Heights and help fight the blight.
That's right.
Is our campaign for this year.
Beautify the Heights, help fight the blight.
That's correct.
Excellent. So we wanted to focus in the month of April on the cleanup campaign because if we get off on the right foot when the snow thaws and the rain subsides a little bit, then we can ride out the rest of the summer into the winter with a nice, beautiful, clean, spick and span community. So the month of April is our focus to kick this off. And so I would like, Mr. Morrow, why don't you tell us what you've got in store for this campaign?
Well, what we have in store, Mr. Bell, is beginning April the 11th, we have 4 billboards that's going to be out for the public to see, starting April the 11th, running through May the 8th, and on the billboard, it tells you exactly how we want to proceed with this campaign, giving us an opportunity for the community to come together as a whole so that we can clean the community, so that, spring has sprung, as you can see, and there is a great need for cleanup around here. So
That's
We as
right.
a community can roll up our sleeves and get together out there and start picking up paper and raking leaves and putting flowers out just to beautify the community so that we all could be proud of where we live.
That's excellent. Excellent. So, um, I know a point of contention has been the leaf bags that were left over from um, the fall, and of course, Republic, I think, extended us another 2 weeks in their yard waste pickup in the winter, and some of us got our bags out a little bit after they ended, and they've been sitting for the whole winter. What is your suggestion and advice to people who have those wet, drenched leaf bags out in their front terrace?
Well, now that winter and spring is here and those bags are wet, it's the
Mhm.
owners or the residents' responsibility to go out there to rebag those because the bottoms has fell out of those paper bags and Republic cannot pick them up. So it is the responsibility of the homeowner to go out there to rebag those leaves so that Republic can now pick them up. And if that doesn't happen by your next garbage day, then the city will be out there enforcing it, and you'll be getting citations for those open bags out on the city terrace. So I encourage you to go out and buy some bags and rebag them before your garbage day, and that way they can get picked up immediately.
Excellent. And I have gotten some calls from Republic because they have gone to pick up some bags and have discovered that in those bags are pieces of trash, paper, cans, that kind of thing. And that technically is not yard waste. So
That's
if
correct. That is correct.
over, right, if over the last few weeks you had your bags out there and somehow or another trash jumped into it, and I'd rather have it in those bags than floating around on the street. So don't get me wrong, but what you need to do is take the paper or trash out of your leaf bag and put it into a separate bag or into your trash bin. Otherwise, Republic will not pick up those leaf bags.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct.
So if you are a resident of one of the 4 or 5 houses that they skipped this past run, this past week, I think they started April 4th. So it's just been 2 days into it. And you're wondering why they passed by, they stopped, maybe picked up 1 or 2 bags, but didn't pick all of them up. Go check your bags and make sure you don't have any trash in them, and make sure you get them back out for your next trash run, right?
That's correct.
Mhm. And so if you don't rebag your leaves and they're still sitting out there on the terrace, you are liable to get a citation. If DPW goes by and sees those bags out there, they will give you a notice. They'll tag it on the house. You'll see an orange tag on the house. They take a picture of it before, and they take a picture of it with the tag on it, so that we have the photograph of exactly what the situation is. And if it's not picked up within 2 days, then they will come back and pick it up for you and send you the bill for it. So just beware, be warned. We are really wanting our terraces and yards clean. I mean, this is our focus, one of our big focuses coming up for the spring cleanup. Now, let me ask you this, Mr. Morrow. I've had some people say, you're doing this whole campaign, which is great. They like that. But the money that we're spending to do this campaign, we could be spending on something else. And the one thing that always pops up is roads. So I wanted to pick your brain and get your thoughts about that.
Well, the money that's been spent on this campaign is very well needed. We need to get into the mindset of our people that we must continue to live in a clean and healthy city. We have to get it out there that this is what, we need to do as a community. We need to come together so we can clean up our city. And so if advertising is a way of getting it out there, then it's very well needed.
Mhm.
As far as I'm concerned, the money is spent in a very good way.
And I can't agree with you more, Mr. Morrow. And you've been a resident of this city for how many years?
Oh, I've been employed here for employed with the city for 25 years. I've been living in Muskegon Heights nearly 28, 30 years.
Wow. Okay. So you've been able to see the community from then to where it is now. Were you always fighting this issue of trash and blight?
Oh, absolutely not. But over a course of time, it involved, and so, but now is the time for us to get a handle on it so we can clean it up.
Right. And I would argue that the most powerful thing that we can do to address the trash and the blight that we have in the community is to elevate and change the mindset that it is not acceptable for us to have trash and dumping in our community. And yes, we might be able to spend money here or there or other places, but if we can use this campaign to change the mindset that is much more powerful than what we could do by doing anything else. And so that the campaign that you've put together, that the staff has put together, is all about changing the mindset, making people conscious of it, and bringing the community together to work together to address the cleanup of our community.
Yes, I agree. And I think also too, Mr. Bell, that with this campaign, that we as a community are going to really see a difference. This is really going to make a difference. We just started the kickoff, April 1st, and it's going to run through the end of the year. But you would certainly within the next 30 days, you will see a big difference, because it's going to be a community coming together, rolling up our sleeves, making it happen.
Excellent. Do you have any samples of what the advertisement is going to look like?
I do have some samples of what it's going to look like. We have yard signs. We have the billboard signs. I don't know if you show it to you now here on.
Yeah, if you can give us a sneak preview. I see some.
Okay. In addition to the billboards, we're going to also have yard signs. And the yard signs are going to look, I don't know if you could see that,
Hold it up a little bit to your right. A little bit more. Right. There you go.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
And this is beautify the heights, help fight the blight. It shows a young man, a young woman putting garbage in the trash can. That's what we should be continually do. Come out in our front yards and pick up the people that's blowing down our blocks. So help clean up the community. That's one. And then we also have on the billboards you would see a beautiful young lady, with the garbage can there, putting garbage in the can, that you would see there. And then
how did you get that photograph of my daughter?
And then you also see a gentleman cutting a young lady here planting flowers, to help beautify the heights. That'll be on one of the billboards also. And then you have a gentleman raking leaves, and that's a bit neat, as you can see that the spring is here and the fall leaves are still on the ground in an abundance. And we also have a gentleman cutting grass. As you may know, anything over 8 inches in height must be cut. So we're going to be monitoring those situations. So these are some of the ways that we could, get the information out to the community to help us fight the blight.
That's excellent. And just to make sure that I don't spark any misunderstandings, I was just joking when I said that picture of my daughter. That is not not a picture of my daughter, but she is beautiful. My daughter's beautiful, so that was the analogy that I was drawing there. So I'm a little biased, of course. But I don't want us to miss or lose what you said about cutting grass, because if it's over 8 inches tall, you could be getting a notice or a citation that your grass is overgrown.
That is true.
And so another issue that we've been fighting with, that you've probably heard me say over and over on this community, is parking. Parking in the grass, parking in the yard.
That's correct.
So what is our rule about that, Mr. Morrow?
Okay, after April 1, there will be parking on the terrace or the front yard is no longer allowed. It was only allowed on the terrace due to the winter months for snow plowing. But now that time has gone, so any vehicle that is parked on the city terrace and in the yard will be ticketed, and ticketed immediately. And if not moved within 24 hours, it would be towed.
Excellent. Okay. And that is a huge part of the way the street looks, the streetscape looks. It is a matter of safety and security and order in the community, and it really changes when we started this process of putting notices and warnings on cars 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It started to change things last year when we went through and started putting citations and towing. We saw a noticeable difference. So this year, we're hoping the third year into this that we will have more folks that are complying with the need to park your cars either on the street or in the driveway or in the garage.
Yes, that's correct.
And I know there were some questions about, well, what is a driveway? Can you help us understand what is the definition of a driveway?
A driveway is that paved portion that's on the side of your property.
Mm-hmm.
It must be a paved portion with a approach. So
Right.
you can't cross the city terrace if it's dirt. It has to be a concrete approach, and the driveway itself has to be a concrete surface.
Excellent. So that would be, when you say an approach, that would be like the curb cut, where the curb ends, and the space between where the curb on the right side ends and the curb on the left side begins. That's a curb cut.
That's correct. Where the car enters. Yes.
Right. So that's your approach, and it's got to be connected to a hard surface, right?
Correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
Excellent. So I saw some colorful videos about, from people who were saying, well, this is a driveway. Well, I've seen some some houses that have a curb cut, but the curb cut goes nowhere. It doesn't go to a driveway. It doesn't go to a hard surface. It doesn't go to a garage. So that doesn't count.
That does not count. You're correct. It does not count.
Okay. And I've seen some folks that have a driveway, but they don't have a curb cut.
That does not.
Right. That does not count.
That's
You're driving
correct.
over the city's curb to get up there, then that doesn't count.
That's correct.
So,
you cannot do that. That is technically a violation. You cannot do that.
right. So I know it's something that has not been an active part of enforcement for some time, with the exception of what we've been doing in the last 3 years. So I get it. It's something different. And I've had people telling me I've been doing this for 10 years. Well, it's been a violation for 10 years and nobody has said anything about it. And, we're reaching new heights, and we're setting the bar higher. And we are looking for folks to help us improve the way that our community looks, so that we can, we do have a beautiful community. We just need to get rid of some of the spots where we have eyesores with things like this, and it will be even more beautiful. So I'm asking everybody in our community to come together and help individually by being in compliance, and help us spread the word that this is not acceptable on my street, on my block, or in our community. So that's what we're looking for, right, Mr. Morrow?
You're absolutely correct. We are. That's what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about the leaf bags. We talked about parking. We talked about the grass. What other aspects are there about the spring cleanup that you'd like to share?
We want our residents to be mindful that, I know we have alleyways, just be mindful that that portion behind your property up to the middle of the alley is your responsibility to maintain as well. As you ride through our city, we have overgrown vegetation. Because we have a fence, we tend not to look over the fence and see what's in the alleyway. But up to the middle of the alleyway is the residents, the homeowner's responsibility to maintain. So therefore, we're asking you, when you cut your grass, please go around and cut the back side of your fence line, so that our alleyways, we can stop people from dumping, so that we can have a clear passage through the alleyway, when needed. Because as you look right now, some of the alleyways are unpassable at all. So it's going to take us, if each one of us has homeowners, get behind our properties and clear that up, then we could we could make it where and put it back to where it used to be.
Excellent. Excellent. So, when I drive the community, which I try to do at least once every week, I see some instances where fences are in really, really bad shape. Is that something that is part of what you look at from building inspections and environmental building enforcement?
It is. It is. Dilapidated fences is a code violation.
Hmm.
Actually, it's a property maintenance violation.
Okay.
All fences should be in good operable conditions.
Hmm.
If you got an old wooden fence that's dilapidated, it's time to either take it down or replace it. We'll send you a notice to do so, and if you don't, then we'll send you a citation, either to either fix it or remove it. Or restore it back to
Okay.
good condition.
Got it. So for folks that want to put up a new fence, are there any requirements associated with putting up a new fence? I know when the summer gets here and Home Depot and Lowe's start having those sales, those things are much more inviting.
Yeah. In order to put up a new fence in Muskegon Heights, you must first come down and obtain a fencing permit from the Department of Inspections or Department of Zoning. They would issue you that permit, and then they'll tell you exactly what type of fencing is allowed in the area. And then you go from there. Once it's approved, then you can install the fence. You cannot do it prior to obtaining a permit. If you do, then you'll be cited for that as well.
Okay. And there's some specific parameters around that you need to be aware of as part of the fencing process, but that's why we have a permit process so that we can take care of that. And just to make sure that everybody is aware, because we've had this pop up too, if you have a lot that does not have a principal structure on it, meaning it doesn't have a house on it, a residence on it, you cannot put up a fence on a lot that does not have a residence on it, a principal structure. So if it's next door and it's not part of your current property, maybe it's an extra lot that you might have obtained. You cannot put up a fence on that unless you have a house on it, right?
That is correct. That's correct.
Okay.
You cannot.
All right. Excellent. So we've talked about fences. What about siding that's falling off or paint that's chipping? What are your thoughts on that?
Again, that is a property maintenance violation, and you will be cited for that as well. Because one thing we want to do, we want to maintain our properties. As you ride around, you see properties that that roofing is falling off, siding's falling off, and windows and doors are perhaps open, So those are property maintenance violations. We will send you a notice to repair those issues. And again, if that doesn't happen, then we have no other choice but to write you a citation, and order you to do so. If that doesn't happen, then ultimately, that may be a property that just have to be boarded up, and we'll take you to court all the way through the process so that we can achieve our goal, of getting the property back into its natural state.
Right. And Mr. Morrow, you're chief building officer and you head up inspections, and it's your job when people fall outside of or in violation of the ordinances to make them aware of it and hold them accountable for it. And that's an important part about creating a minimum standard of quality and care in the community. And so when we talk about reaching new heights, it is part of the effort is making sure that people understand what the rules and requirements are, and then creating accountability for that. And that's an important piece. But we also want you to understand that really what we want to achieve is we want to clean up and we want to fix up our community. We want to make it attractive to live here, to Those people who do a great job on their keep with the upkeep and maintenance of their property, we want to applaud you, but we also want to help make sure that you don't have to look at another property that is not well maintained. And to Mr. Michael Anthony Smith's comment and question in the chat here in the comments, we do have to help people because we understand that not everybody has the disposable time or income to be able to be on top of these things at all times. But we do have the Community Development Block Grant Program, where there are funds that are available based on your income and your age to be able to assist you with making critical repairs and maintenance repairs to your property. So that program has been in place. It's still in place. They do have a finite amount of money available, but that program does exist, and there are opportunities to help you, for us to help you help yourself in terms of fixing up your properties. So it's not just about enforcement. There is opportunities for assistance to achieve the same goal. And sometimes I think, and I appreciate you asking that question, Mr. Smith, because sometimes that gets lost at, in the shuffle, so to speak. We think it's all about chasing people and giving them citations, and that's all we're worried about. No, we want a beautiful community, and we're willing to help you help us achieve a beautiful community by helping you get your own properties together. And I think that's also part of the litter and blight campaign. It's not just about being accountable ourselves for our own properties, but it's also reaching out and accepting a certain level of responsibility for cleaning up your street. And there's some wonderful neighborhood associations that are out there busting their backs to come together as a group, right? And come together as a community and clean up their areas. Yeah. And so we applaud you for that and those groups for that. But on an individual basis in other areas where the community or the neighborhood associations aren't pulling together to have organized activities around that, if you see trash outside of your house, in the driveway or on the street, or if you're downtown, if you have the opportunity and you have a set of gloves with you, pick it up, throw it in the trash, and help us all keep the community clean. So.
And that's true, Mr. Bell, too. In addition to that, Mr. Bell, we coincide this, this cleanup campaign with our dumpster days that we're going to be having here pretty soon. Mm-hmm. We have dumpster days set for May the 7th and the 14th, which would give the residents, an opportunity to get all of that stuff that's on the side and the back of your house that you've been wanting to throw away for years that is a blight to the community. Mm-hmm. Now is an opportunity, if you're a resident of Muskegon Heights, that you can bring it down to DPW on May the 7th and the 14th, and that will help you if you can't afford to, order a dumpster for yourself, load it up and bring it down to DPW, and we'll dispose it for you if you're a resident of the city. We have 2 Saturdays set aside just for that purpose. And if we can utilize that, you can see a big difference. If every resident can clean around their house on those 2 Saturdays, and get rid of the stuff that they don't want, it will make a great difference come the following week.
Right. Absolutely. And you stole my thunder on that. I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to make sure that I mentioned that May 7th and May 14th are the free dumpster days.
Yes.
So in addition to funding that you might be able to access through CDBG, is this opportunity, like Mr. Morrow said, to, if you've got things that you need to get rid of, instead of putting it out on the terrace and paying to have it picked up with the bulk item stickers, you can take them down to DPW for free and dispose of them. So
yes,
that should be a big help, and we want to get the word out there ahead of time. May 7th and May 14th are the key days And May 7th is the day right before Mother's Day, if I'm not mistaken. I think May 8th this year is Mother's Day.
That's
So
correct.
here's your chance to do some spring cleaning to make mom happy. All the stuff that you've accumulated that you've been holding on to, it's time to let it go. And better now than on the 7th or the 14th when you can put it in the dumpster for free as opposed to putting it out on the terrace and having to pay for it. Also, I want to mention again, if you see somebody dumping in the community, and oftentimes, I mean, the few times that I've had the good fortune to catch somebody in the act of dumping, I see a pickup truck, stuff piled up in the back, driving slow near a vacant lot or down an alley, where there might be some missing houses. If you see that type of stuff going on, and you report it, and it leads to the successful prosecution of somebody who's dumping, then there's $1,000 reward courtesy of 1037 The Beat. We want to, again, help our community be clean, free of dumping.
Yes, correct. Yes.
That's all part of reaching new heights. So we've hit the dumpster days. Now, there are some groups in our community. We had a United Way Day of Caring where we cleaned up Broadway Street and parts of Peck, and they did a fantastic job in painting the curbs, the yellow curbs, and painting the poles, the light poles, as a precursor to us getting the lights on downtown. Again, another one of Mr. Morrow's projects, successfully getting 50 of the 64 lights that hadn't been on for 10, 15, some people say longer than that, years, back on and shining bright at night. United Way did a great deal in cleaning up the downtown and painting, and that was fabulous. Other groups like CCD, the Coalition for Community Development, that's another organization of people who over the last 8 years, from what I understand, have been diligently taking it upon themselves to go around the community, not in their backyard, not in their front yard, but other spots in the community, and get together and clean up. And I'm not trying to out anybody by saying this, but of the 8 steadfast members, I believe 6 of them may be over the age of 70. So if folks at that age have the commitment, courage, and drive to clean up the community, we would love to get some young folks to participate in that as well. I believe there's another organization. Is it called 5x5?
That's correct. Yes, that's it. 5x5. Yeah.
5x5, and they've done some great organizing around community cleanups, and we look forward to having them come back again to help us with the cleanup in the community. And a number of churches have expressed an interest. So I'm excited that we have this interest and buzz around cleaning up. But I think one of the things that we could do better is organize together around how we can focus on specific areas, because we want to have that impact.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Well, I would propose then that we get together, put out a call for April 12th, which I believe is a Tuesday, for everybody to come together who's interested in being part of cleaning up the community.
Okay.
And we can organize and we can identify locations. I know, Mr. Morrow, you were working with DPW and putting together a list of chronic dump sites, areas of the community that we need to, that need love.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
So
excessive dumping. Yes.
Excessive, yes. So I'm proposing that on April 12th at 5:30, that if you are interested, Um, and let me stop and say, give me your feedback. If you are looking at this on Facebook and live stream, and you think that you would be interested in being part of a community organized cleanup, you tell me. If that's something that you're interested in, would getting together April 12th at 5:30 be something that you would be interested in? And so click over in the comments in the chat and share if you think that that's something that you'd like to participate in, or if you have any ideas associated with that. I'd love to hear from you in the chat, um, because I think that's an opportunity for us to come together again as a community. And that's, I've said it many times, the city of friendly people, that's one of our greatest assets, the bond that we have as members of Muskegon Heights. So I'm looking to hear from you here in the chat. So as we are on the back stretch of our show today, Mr. Morrow, I want to bring up that the idea that the mayor proposed to assist with cleanup in the community. And I know it's not fully baked. It is an idea that's in formation.
Mm-hmm.
But for those people out there that say, here I am breaking my back, keeping my property clean, keeping my business clean, but across the street I have city-owned property or land bank-owned property, and nothing's happened with that. So how can you hold me accountable, or why are you going to ask me to do this or cite me for it when the government isn't taking care of their property? So have you heard that before, Mr. Morrow?
Oh, absolutely. I hear it all the time.
So
I think the
go ahead.
idea, I think the idea too is a great idea because that will get the residents involved. If you have a vacant property that city owns, and because we are definitely short of manpower, and if you do want to, if that resident wants to clean it up, here's an opportunity for them to do that, at a minimum cost, and that will help us out in the long run in beautifying the city. So I think it's an excellent idea, and if we can get residents to weigh in on it, I believe we could clean this thing up a lot quicker than just waiting on public works to come around, because we're limited, so we can't be every place at one time. So if we get the residents involved, and if there is a vacant property in here blocking you and you want to clean it up, I believe there's incentives out there for you to do that. So just reach out to us and we'll explain it to you. Sure.
Perfect. And I will say this, to just to level expectations. If it's a land bank owned property, we've already been down the path of trying to create accountability for land bank to clean up their properties. And that has been a dead end for us. So our best solution for dealing with land bank property is to figure out a way that we can get those properties in the hands of private citizens who are looking to keep those properties clean or develop them themselves. But at this point, we don't have any options available to us in terms of forcing land bank to clean up their property. But when it comes to city-owned property, this idea is on the table that would allow neighborhood associations to adopt lots that are city-owned lots and clean those lots and cut those lots and receive a stipend for doing so, as well as individual residents of Muskegon Heights. So if you've got a property next door or across the street that is either vacant, city-owned property, or is a vacant structure, that then there's an opportunity for you to get a stipend to clean up those properties. But the devil is in the details. And so what we are working on now, and this is why I started off by saying it's not set in motion. It still has to go through certain approvals. But the idea as it stands now is that if you have that situation, you would come to the city and advise the city of the situation, and the city would go through a process of authorizing you to do the work and compensating you via a stipend for the work that you've done. And so we're pulling that plan together, and hopefully we'll have something by the beginning of May to be able to roll out to provide some incentives, like Mr. Morrow said, for cleaning up city-owned property.
Yes.
Yeah. And the bottom line, like you said, Mr. Morrow, the city doesn't have the resources to keep up with 400 plus vacant lots because we don't have the funding or the manpower to be able to do that. So as a community, it means if we're going to get it done, we've got to come together and work together to get it done.
That is definitely correct. Yes, definitely. Come
So
together as a community.
Go ahead.
I said definitely that's correct. Come together as a community. If we could do it together, and together we can achieve our goal.
There you go. And this past week, I'll let the community know that staff met and began brainstorming around this idea that the mayor had suggested, to see if there was a way that we could make it work to create those incentives and a process to be able to manage that. And so that is in the works, and hopefully we'll have something to introduce, like I said, in May. All right.
Yes.
So I think we've gone through the run of the spring cleanup. We didn't mention about the postcards.
Oh yes, yes. For those residents who wants to be help us to promote the campaign, starting next week, we will have yard signs available for those residents who want to place those yard signs in your yard. So we're going to be issuing them out first come, first serve. So if you want one, stop in the city hall next week in Department of Inspections, and we'll hand them to you. But you have to be a resident of Muskegon Heights in order to receive one of the yard signs. So I encourage you to do that, so you can help us to promote, so that we can get this campaign off the ground. And when the results come in the next 30 days, you would say, "Wow, we should have did this a long time ago."
I love it. I love it. So if you're all in, as one of the pieces of artwork said, if you're all in with this cleanup, beautify the heights, fight the blight, show your support by picking up a yard sign to say that you are one of those people, one of those residents in this community that believe in the effort to clean up our community, and you want to show your support. We ask you to put a sign in your yard to show that support. So we have them at inspections. And if you come to this meeting on April 12th with the various organizations that are pulling together cleanups and individual volunteers, that if you're an individual volunteer or a member of an organization, fraternity, sorority, if you got kids that are in school at the Muskegon Heights School District and they need some volunteer credit, come out April 12th at 5:30, and we'll have some yard signs for you as well. If you can't make the meeting but you still want a yard sign, you go where, Mr. Morrow?
Department of Inspections, and we'll give you one.
Okay. I see Mr. Vernonell Smith Sr. has asked that we reserve one for him. So you got it. You got it. Mm-hmm. So
great.
Anything else that you want to add about the cleanup?
I do, Mr. Bill. Just a reminder to the residents. I know we spoke about it earlier, to get out and rebag those busted bags that's out on the terrace, okay? Because there's an abundance of them out there. So please get out and rebag them prior to your next garbage day pickup, and Republic will pick them up, okay? And another thing too, anything that does not fit inside of your garbage tote is considered to be a bulk item. So if it doesn't fit inside the tote, then you got to get a sticker for it in order for it to be picked up. If it's left out on the terrace and the next following day, Public Works ride by and see that, then you will be cited for it. So we encourage you to get the bulk item stickers or to put on those items, and make sure that whatever you want inside the tote fits inside the tote. And remember to put all of your paper and stuff inside a plastic bag prior to just putting it in the tote. because a lot of times when they go to dump that stuff and the lid of the tote opens, the paper flies everywhere. So just a reminder to bag it before you put it in the tote, and that way it'll minimize the the garbage that's spewing out of the truck as it goes through our neighborhoods.
And thank you for that reminder. Yes, please bag your trash before you put it in the tote.
Yes.
Please bag it, because that helps a tremendous amount from keeping the loose trash from flying around.
That's correct.
And just to reiterate, that DPW has been tasked, if they see items that are on the terrace that do not have a bulk item sticker, they're supposed to put the warning tag up, and if it's not picked up within 2 days, 48 hours.
48 hours, yes.
Then they are directed to come back and pick it up and send you a bill for the cost of having that picked up.
Correct.
So if you got stuff that's out there on the terrace for more than 2 or 3 days, you are probably going to be in line to get not only a citation but a bill for the cleanup. It's not cheap. What's the minimum amount?
$585.
Ouch. So you got a chair out there, a desk, or a couch that doesn't have a bulk item sticker on it, you could get hit with a bill for $585.
That is correct.
Minimum, just to start with.
That's the minimum. And just be mindful, if it's a mattress or a couch or a cloth couch, remember that it has to be fully wrapped before you put it out on the terrace, because if you set it out there and it's not wrapped, then Republic will not pick it up. So remember to wrap it and also put a sticker on it before you place it out there.
Wrap it in what, Mr. Morrow?
And place a sticker on it.
Wrap it in plastic, right?
And wrap it in plastic. That's correct. Fully in plastic. It has to be fully enclosed in plastic. And place a bulk item sticker on it.
And where do you get the bulk item stickers?
You can come down to the city of Muskegon Heights to the Treasury Department and pick up one.
Okay. How much do they run? Is it $4 a sticker?
They're $4 a sticker. That's correct.
Excellent. And so the last thing I would say is keep an eye out in your mail. We're sending out postcards through the mail with some of the information that we just talked about, some of the ordinances on it of what you're accountable for. So we just want to encourage everybody. We want to make sure that you're knowledgeable what the expectations are, and that we encourage you to help us help you beautify the Heights and fight the blight, right?
That's correct. If you see me out writing citations, it's not personal, it's business.
I get it. It's all part of reaching new heights. So
exactly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Morrow, for joining us on the show today and being part of the show, and the work and effort that you've put in and creating this campaign and taking the lead. I know it was a lot for me to ask you to spearhead this, and you've done it gracefully and gallantly. So I think it's a huge undertaking, but I think it's well needed, and I give you my applause for the work that you've done, and I'm excited to see the outcomes of it. So
thank you, Mr. Bill. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. So with that, we will wrap the show up and say thank you for joining us for Reaching New Heights with Troy Bell, the city manager, City of Muskegon Heights, where you get to know what you need to know so you'll be in the know. So join us on Monday for our first council meeting of the month at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, and join us on Tuesday for the volunteer group at 5:30. So look forward to seeing everybody.
When smoking gives you COPD, you learn to lie a little bit. You make up excuses like,